Heading into the United States Grand Prix weekend, every single point was pivotal to the outcome of the World Drivers' Championship. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were the clear favourites for the title, with Max Verstappen having an outside chance of closing the gap. However, that outside chance required Norris, Piastri and McLaren to slip up, and in Austin, they did. Verstappen took the maximum 33 points from the sprint weekend, while championship leader Piastri could only manage 10 and his teammate 18. This title was there for the McLaren drivers to lose, and in Austin, they might have done just that. But is Max Verstappen really the biggest threat to their title? Today, I'll check out all that happened in Austin, including Verstappen's perfect weekend, what has gone wrong with the McLaren team, and why Red Bull got a huge fine for trying to hamstring Norris's weekend. So don't go anywhere. Before the cars hit the track at the Circuit of the Americas, Max Verstappen's title chances were beyond distant. He was 63 points behind leader Oscar Piastri with 6 race weekends remaining. That meant he needed to secure over 10 points per race weekend more than Piastri to take the World Drivers' Championship. Even with 3 sprint races thrown into the mix, that seemed like a tall order. In terms of comparison seasons for title comebacks, it's hard to find one on the scale that Verstappen was facing. After round 15 of the season, he was 104 points behind Oscar Piastri. With just 9 races left this year, that should have been the end of any hopes he had. In the modern point-scoring era, with 25 points for first place, the biggest successful comeback is Sebastian Vettel's in 2012, who overturned a 39-point deficit with 7 races remaining. That title charge is revered among F1 fans, almost on the same level as Raikkonen's comeback in 2007 under the old scoring system. With 7 races remaining this season, Verstappen needed 69 points. Before last weekend's Grand Prix, all sense said that Verstappen should not have been able to win the Drivers' Championship title. Yet here we are, a weekend later, and is Verstappen now the favourite to take the title? He now sits just 40 points behind Piastri and 26 behind Norris. Over the last 5 race weekends, Verstappen has gained 57 points on Piastri. With 5 Grand Prix and 2 sprint races thrown in remaining, that 40-point bumper doesn't look all that big, especially when it's an in-form Max Verstappen that the two are facing. After the Grand Prix in Austin, Verstappen finally declared that he thought he had a realistic chance of taking a 5th straight driver's title. For sure, the chance is there, said Verstappen. We just need to try and deliver these kind of weekends now till the end. We'll just try whatever we can. I think it is exciting, and I'm just very excited to the end. Verstappen also took pole position for both this weekend's races. He dominated the Grand Prix from there, pulling out a lead over 10 seconds at one stage. It was an unbelievable weekend for us, said Verstappen, but I knew that the race was not going to be super straightforward. I think if you look at the whole race, the pace between myself and Lando was really close. I think just in that first stint, that's where we made the difference. I could eke out a little bit of a gap, and that's basically what we kept till the end. It wasn't easy to manage the tyres on both of the stints, but we kept it in the lead. I'm just incredibly proud of everyone to deliver a weekend like this. Verstappen has consistently downplayed his chances this season. Just a few months ago he was saying there was no title fight at all, as the McLarens were too fast to play a serious role in the championship. That has completely changed now though. Since the Dutch Grand Prix, when Red Bull brought a new front wing, Verstappen has won 3 of the 5 Grand Prix and finished second in the other 2. It isn't just Verstappen who's benefited either. Tsunoda has scored points in 3 of the past 5 races as well, showing that the upgrades to the front wing have really improved the car. While Verstappen is showing why Alonso called him one of the best of all time, the team also have to take credit for the impact of that front wing upgrade, which has transformed the performance of their car. However, if Verstappen does complete this comeback, it won't just be because of him and his team. McLaren have bigger problems than just Verstappen. Red Bull will do anything to help their driver win the driver's title, and in Austin, they overstepped the mark while trying to upset his title rival. Red Bull were fined €50,000 because a team member returned to the grid to try to remove the tape marking McLaren driver Lando Norris's grid position. The FIA said the Red Bull employee had ignored instructions from marshals who were trying to prevent him from entering the gate well area. Apparently, it's not the first time that Red Bull has done this to a rival team, usually their closest competitor before a race, and that McLaren were using stronger tape to prevent it from happening. McLaren had asked the FIA at the start of the season if they could use tape to mark their grid positions in this way. Drivers are penalised if they do not correctly position their cars on the grid, and putting tape on the wall by the track is intended to help them do this, as visibility out of the cars is limited and drivers cannot easily see the lines on the track marking their grid box. Why don't you let me know what you think of Red Bull's underhanded tactics in the comments down below? And while you're there, make sure to press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. While that new Red Bull front wing has transformed their car, and Verstappen is in incredible form in his pursuit of the Drivers' Championship, McLaren have a bigger problem. Lando Norris said he was almost surprised to qualify second for Formula One's United States Grand Prix, as he felt his McLaren was impossible to drive. This is the same car that up until the Dutch Grand Prix had been almost untouchable by the rest of the grid. However, while the rest of the grid have been improving their cars, McLaren appear to have switched all of their attention to the new regulations. Now, with Red Bull making gains, the McLaren drivers are having to push harder than ever to be competitive, and they're finding that the performance simply isn't there. "It's just impossible to drive. I don't know why," Norris said on Sky Sports. "It was just clear from Q1 already, like every lap we did. We were between 0.3 to half a second off of Max. It wasn't just that they were very strong, it was more we were like 11th and 12th in Q1 and weren't a mile away from being knocked out, so I was pretty worried after Q1. It's just a handful to drive. Just every bump, every curb, lap to lap different. Just a handful, which is not the most common thing we say about our car, but it's clear that we're both struggling today with it quite a bit." McLaren's problem isn't Verstappen at the moment. Piastri was so far ahead of the Red Bull driver that he should never have been a contender for the driver's title. The problem is that McLaren gambled on completely stopping the development of their current car. You can understand why. They appear to be so far ahead of the rest of the grid that their drivers should probably have been safe. The last upgrades came before the summer break when they went on a run of 4 consecutive 1-2 finishes. It made sense for the team to stop the development of this season's car and focus all their money and time on the new regulations. However, Red Bull, and to a degree Mercedes, are now benefiting from McLaren's early switch. Both have brought new front wings in recent races and have transformed their performance. There's still a month and a half left of the season. There is still time for McLaren to build upgrades if they've already done development work on them. But is there still time for them to stop the advances of Max Verstappen? Well, Piastri certainly doesn't think so, as he appeared completely bereft of any confidence after Sunday's Grand Prix. Reflecting on his performance, the Australian conceded that the pace just wasn't there. "I don't have any great ideas at the moment," Piastri told the media. "Qualifying was clean from my side. It was just that the pace wasn't there, and it was honestly a pretty similar story in the race." This layout is quite interesting. There are a lot of very high-speed corners with a lot of ride content. There are a lot of very low-speed corners, so you need to be good at both ends of the spectrum. Actually, there's not a whole lot of corners in that medium-speed range. There are a few, but more outside of it. So for me, it's not been a particularly happy hunting ground my whole F1 career. There is still a long way to go in the championship, and for Max, he's chased it down pretty quickly, but it's not exactly a small gap with 4-5 rounds to go. So if we can find our pace again, things will take care of themselves. The issue is, how do McLaren find the pace to compete for race wins again? Verstappen has won 3 of the previous 4 races, and while things might have been different if Norris hadn't lost out to Leclerc into Turn 1, he did, and Verstappen won with comfort. The team surely don't have upgrades coming at this point, and having had this car in its current form for 3 months now, it's very unlikely that there's anything they can magically unlock in the setup of their car to find the performance they need. McLaren misstepped by turning their attention to 2026 so early, and the price they might have to pay is the World Drivers' Championship. Do you think Piastri can hold on? Or is Verstappen now your favourite to win the individual honours at the end of this season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.